Hello, Andreas here from Dresden, Germany. I want to present you today a new concept how you can verify data, dynamic data in snapshots. We will verify some data from Amazon web page, and this session is only the third one. So let's have a look. In before sessions, we verified already the bullet points. This was almost the constant values. It was very simple to verify. Also, we verified then technical details. This block, it was also very simple to verify. And today we will verify this additional information block. It looks like a small one, but look, it has some dynamic data like 4.7. It's a floating point. The 104 ratings is an integer which changes always, and so on. Even this date could change, but in that case, date first available, so it's constant date. I don't think it will change. As you could also verify this one. And the question is how we can verify. Usually, if you start to verify something, you check these values and use a sort equals or sort true or something like that, and have complex methods which verify that this value is really floating point or this value is really date. Let me show you how you can do this in snapshots. So I prepared already the test. I do this the same like in test before. I retain the text node. I fetch this block by this ID, then I retain the text nodes. I retain also, I trim to the body, and then I also remove the empty spaces. So from beginning and end. And at the end, what I have is this snapshot. You see all this data, which is presented actually here in this block. You see, for example, this 4.7, you see, and also 4.7 out of 5. The question is how we can verify this. Usually in snapshots, you should never ignore or remove values. You should replace these values with the description. For example, what is this here? This is my customer rating. So I could write instead of this, I would write ratings or customer ratings. Okay, in this case, it's clear, it's Amazon page, so ratings. Then I would say it's a float. Yeah. Then I would say it's greater than 0. It could maybe be 0, so greater equal to 0. This is actually my description of this value. And then I would just remove this value itself and replace it by this description. That way, my verification would work. That means I need somehow to verify this number and replace this number by the description. And if then the value which I verified is not okay, I would write here something like failed and then my real value. For example, I wouldn't do this like this equal. I would say failed on and value was like 0. Yeah, so in this string, my snapshot would differ because actually my snapshot which I stored before, my expected snapshot would be that. And if the value changes in that way that I don't expect, this string would be added, and then I would see the difference in my snapshots, and my snapshot would fail. So how can we do this? Actually, you can do this with map methods, like let me show you. This is the JSON path of this value. We copy, and then you would write the same like this. Here I remove just empty spaces. Here you would just pass this value, try to cast it to float, would check that it is greater than 0, and so on. Would add some text, would be a lot of stuff what you need to write. It would be boilerplate code, and yeah, it's not a right way to do this. Of course, sometimes you need to do this, but to simplify all this process, we have here verify method. Just try verify. Here you have value predicate. I will show you what it is. For now, I just write value predicate and is float. And then we have also the JSON path. For now, I just add this ugly JSON path. In next session, I show you how you can also make it simple, but for now, I want just to concentrate on this predicate, on value predicates, how you can verify this value. So please ignore this one. We'll do this in next session. But for now, it's only about this one. So I check is float. I would check this value is float, the value which is stored in this JSON path. If I do this, this predicate, actually value predicate, extends from, if you look, extends from predicate string. That means it just accepts the string values, and then it would check that this string, what it gets, is a float. Let's execute this test and see how it looks like. So I activated this one. Driver, okay. So then let's execute this. And let's have a look how it changed. Actually here, instead of this value what we had, you see this is my description now, what I wrote down. But in real here was a value. The rating, what we've seen there. So and now what you see here, sorry, I didn't close the window before. Execute this again. And actually what you would see here, the description of this value. This is sorry for that. I just copy something not right here because this is something strange. Sorry, I deactivate this first. Execute this because my JSON here, my JSON path was not correct because I wrote here some strange text and IntelliJ didn't recognize this as and therefore I have this strange JSON path. So now this is 4.7. This is actually my JSON path. So and we copy it here. Okay, and now if I verify this JSON path, this value by isFloat, then this value, this string will be passed by this predicate, this value predicate, and would be replaced with its description. And the description of isFloat actually a float. It will just replace this number by the description of the predicate. In that case, it's float. But what's about if I want to check that this predicate is greater than 0, for example? I can do this by connecting this predicate with logical operators. Let me show you what I mean. So I close this. Here I make static import, and here value predicate, and here is we have end. So and end accepts many other predicates, and one is, for example, is float, and another is greater than 0, for example. Okay. You can also add some static import to it and just write it in a different way. So in that case, you see, we check that this value, which is stored in this path, this JSON path, is a float number and it's greater than 0. Let's execute this and look how it looks like. Usually I work in headless mode with Selenium, but for presentation I show it. So you see, it's now description is as a float and it's greater than 0. Now it's not really clear what this value is in this long snapshot file. And to add some description to it, we have another possibility. You can even replace this, but to add the comment to it, it's actually value predicate. You see, just a comment. And yes, you would just add some comments to this. So I also add this as and here our comments. And I would just add some comment like ratings. Okay. If I do this and execute, then you would see that the comment will be added here. And you can understand more about this value. What is this in this snapshot file? So you see here, it's actually ratings, it's a float, and it's greater than 0, for example. And if the value would be different, I show you what would happen. For example, I would just say it's not a float, it should be an integer, but you know it's a float, yeah? But I would say it's integer. Then the description would be different. Of course, this should be the int then, but you would see also the value which will be added to the snapshot, because the snapshot, yeah, the value here you see this is actually the predicate name. It's an int, it's bigger than 0, but the predicate, the complete predicate failed. This end, the complete predicate failed because the value was 4.7, so it's not integer. And actually on this string, if you have expected predicate, expected snapshot would be without this string, and if the number would be different, the string would be generated, and you would see it in actual snapshot file, and these both snapshot files would differ from each other, and the test would fail, and you would immediately see what was the problem and which conditions were not fulfilled. Actually, condition is, so it's just additional information, but condition is it should be integer and it should be bigger than 0. So I hoped I show you now, explain this somehow. I show you now a short overview about different kind of predicates, value predicates in that case. You see, this is some kind like flow graph. You have value predicates, could be and or, not just logical operations. And then you have, of course, this atomic predicates, like you can check for, is it Boolean, is it less than 0? You can define custom predicates, you can check, is it blanks, like string predicates, like starts with, contains, ends with. All these predicates, they're already predefined. For example, much reg, much easy expressions or regex. All this stuff is predefined and can be used, but as I said, you can define also own predicates, and we will talk more about this in next sessions. I'm glad I could explain you somehow this complex concept. It's completely new. I never seen it before. In other snapshot technologies like the JUnits, we always tried to ignore some values or like timestamps. We validated them, we ignored them, and they were part of the snapshot, and we had a lot of maintenance work. Or we, for example, removed this data after verifying it. It's also not a good one because if you remove data from your snapshot, you can't be sure you verified it. Maybe it was not there in source data, but you think, okay, I removed it after I verified it, but you couldn't verify it because it was not present in source data. Or something like SOAP UI, if you have just a snapshot, and you just have a boilerplate assert methods like check. I have such count of X path or such count of JSON path or something like that. It's also boilerplate code. It's more like as many assert equals. Real snapshot technology should work like you have a value, you replace it inside your snapshot, and then you make the snapshot to expected snapshot. You will see all failures at the same time. If your test fails, all the failures within the test, and you have a you can precisely define your scope, and that's so much simpler because you don't need to write all this complex code, this boilerplate code. You just have your code of lines which create your stable snapshot, and this code of lines should be also very stable, so your regression test will never fail. Only reason which can be um, by your the, the reason why your test is failed is actually the failure is relevant for this test. All other failures are not acceptable. So that way I want to motivate you to use snapshot technology. If you find this demo interesting, please contact me. I'll be glad to discuss with you how we can implement it in your project. See you. Andreas Holman from ExpectedBits. Bye.